There we go. Hi, everybody. This is Gary Wilson, and welcome to this week's live Path to Prosperity webinar. Welcome aboard all the students, East Coast to West Coast, and everywhere in between, and also US and Canada, and also the Bahamas. So tonight's subject, we're going to go over how to do the workshop in little nitty-gritty detail. Should be done in less than an hour. However, a little bit of housekeeping. If you could always remember, if you're not watching this live, it means you're watching it recorded. Either case, always look for the email the next day from Beverly. It gives you updates to the systems and platforms. We've got some pretty good updates coming down the road here towards the end of the year. We'll keep you posted. She also gives you scheduling updates and changes, changes to the material, the content. Seems like something's always changing. And also, you just want to kind of keep them on top of things, what's happening with the systems. You know, there's 3 different platforms, right? So there's a lot that could go on. In any case, so always look for that. Now, tonight we're going to do is talk about the workshop. So I'm going to show you how to walk through the process of doing the workshop in a way that's meaningful and effective for you, that's fulfilling, and also a way that's comfortable for you. Like, everybody has a different starting point. No 2 people are alike. The system is the same. It's just that, you know, Louis, you may have experience that Christian doesn't have, and vice versa. So doing the workshop might not be the first thing you do. In fact, it's usually not the first thing you do. Usually the first thing I have you do is like the booklet, followed by the letter, and then the workshop. And there's lots of other things you can do. YouTube, Facebook, all that online stuff, okay? There's other strategies too that are offline. But the main one that we really advocate is the workshop, because it prepares you to create a community around yourself, right? It also, you know, helps you develop yourself personally. So in any case, so let's just jump into it, okay? Instead of talking about it, let's just jump into it. So I'm going to pop this screen up here. Hang on one second. Where is my list? Hang on one second. Let me go here. Maybe here it is. Okay, so let me do a screen share real quick. Hang on just one second. Share and share. Okay, so right now you should see on your screen something that says workshop checklist. You know, my investment services, Path to Prosperity workshop checklist. So if you could shoot me a quick chat message, guys, just let me know, 1 or 2 of you, that you can actually see this on your screen. Let me just double check that to make sure we're all okay. And it looks like, okay, good, we're all good. By the way, I didn't check the checklist, so hang on one second. Let me just see who all is here. So we have more people sign on. Attendees. Okay, Adrian, good to see you, buddy. Augustine, brand new. Hey, that's the spirit, Augustine. So guys, Augustine just signed up last night. So Augustine, you're going to like this one because it's going to dovetail on what we talked about yesterday in class, okay? Belinda, good to see you too. Good to swap messages with you. I'm glad you see you're getting your internal study group up and running. Hey, Belinda, if you could do me a favor, reach out to Rachelle. I think Rachelle wants to do it, and she made a little encouragement. Let's see. Chris Latham, good to see you, buddy. Cedric, Kristen, David, Gary, my gosh, everybody. James, Carrie, Mariah, Louis, Paul. Hey, awesome. So you're on. So Paul, guess what we're going to talk about tonight? We're going to talk about the workshop. I'm going to show you everything I'm going to send you later in an email, okay? Shirley, good to see you. Teresa, okay. If I didn't call your name, please forgive me. I'm just want to get into the content here. So every one of you, I'm glad you're here. Okay, first things first, this is called the workshop checklist, okay? And Beverly's going to send this to you in tomorrow's email. So you'll have the checklist to refresh your memory and to execute from, okay? So the first thing when you're doing a workshop, there's all kinds of workshops. The most common is called First Time Homebuyer Workshop. Most of you have done that. There's good and bad. I mean, you can bring in a vendor, like you can bring a lender in, you can bring in an attorney, a title rep. Most people would bring in a lender to a first time homebuyer workshop because they want to get people qualified, right? First time homebuyer workshop though, you've really got to work pretty hard to fill it up. And the challenge is you got to do that every single month. In other words, first time homebuyers are only first time homebuyers one time, and they really don't have any need to keep showing up. Whereas investors are repeat clients and they have incentive. They're motivated to keep showing up every single month, as long as you provide value, okay? So investor workshops are what we're talking about tonight. Now, my suggestion is you think in more a broader sense. In other words, the workshop should be able to appeal to people who are flipping, appeal to people, excuse me, who are buying rentals, wholesaling, property management, the whole 9 yards. And then as you go through your workshop and it grows and you build a clientele, you can specialize, have certain nights just for flipping and certain nights just for wholesaling and for buying rentals, for example, okay? But in the beginning, you just want to appeal to investors in general. And I'm going to show you how to do that a little bit later on. So let's assume your goal right now is to have an investor workshop. And let's say your goal is in income, for income purposes, you want to bring in, you want to average by the end of the year, 1 transaction per week, okay? 52, you want to be on pace at the end of the year to generate 1 transaction a week from this technique. Noble goal, definitely doable. Some people have done way better than that. Some people have not done that great, but overall, I think for most cases, that's a pretty noble goal, all right? And I do it in terms of transactions, not in terms of dollars, because, every one of you is in a different area. Some of you are in areas where the average transaction is $1 million. Some of you are in areas where the average transaction is $100,000. So we do it based on numbers of transactions. And I want you to write that down. If you could please go ahead and write that down. If you had your workshop up and running and it was matured and stabilized, say after a year, how many transactions would you like to see that generate on a weekly or a monthly basis? And then write that down, okay? Now that's the transaction level. There's other goals. In other words, you might decide that you want to turn this into a local investor community where you do charge a monthly fee and you bring in guest speakers that pay you to be part of your group, because now you've got a group of few hundred people. Let's face it, contractors, lenders, attorneys, inspectors, insurance guys, they want to have access to your group, and you can ask them to pay you a monthly fee to be part of that, to be able to come in and show their wares and get up and speak every once in a while, okay? So in any case, think about that. Think exponentially, not just linearly, about what your goals are. And we'll move on, but this is something you can do on your own. And just when you write down an initial goal, transaction-wise, what would you like to get out of it? And by the way, that could also mean for you personally and as an investor, maybe you want to get a property a month for yourself as a result of doing this. And that's a good goal too. So just write those categories down and think about that, okay? Now, the next thing is determining if there's a niche group you wish to serve. Niche group being something based on like hobby or vocation, okay? Not niches in terms of investor versus owner occupant, but in terms of lifestyle, hobbies, vocations, things like that. So for example, my 2 most profitable groups of investors for me were dentists and engineers, okay? Flat out, hands down, bar none, those were for me, the best 2 groups to work with. So I actually created a podcast just for a dentist at one time. We actually, but there's kind of an irony here. In the last probably 6 weeks, I think I've been on 6 different dental podcasts. Go imagine that. So, but back to this. Maybe you have a hobby. Maybe you're a runner. We've created workshops. We've created investor workshops for runners, for example. We've done them for musicians, for photographers. We've done one for teachers. We did one for parents of preschool children. We did an investor workshop for Russian-speaking women. The list goes on and on. So if you have something that's important to you in terms of lifestyle or hobby, right, then absolutely do that. In fact, we came up with one today, Paul, if you don't mind me sharing, that I think may work, is, investors who speak German. There you go. It's like a niche within a niche, but here's the cool thing about this. You might think you're narrowing down your potential client base, but the reality is you're probably going to be the only realtor in that group. You're going to get all those commissions, okay? And you can later on expand the group or duplicate it for other groups. But in the beginning, what you're doing is you're narrowing it down to something that's really important to you, something you're passionate about, And all those other people who speak German are going to recognize that. And they're going to want to be part of what you have because it's special just for them. Okay, I know some of you know what I'm talking about. Christian, Scott, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about here. People want to belong. They want to belong. And when you make it very niche specific, they feel more special. They feel like there's a more belongingness in that group. In fact, you'll hear this phrase sometimes, which is this: the riches are in the niches. And boy, is it true. Most people try to be all things to all people and cast a wide net and do all this broadcast marketing. And I'm not saying it doesn't work, but your return is much lower. It's a thinner, more diluted return. But if you niche it down, you narrow down the scope of your group, you generally have a higher conversion rate within that group because they feel like they know you, okay? So, and by the way, feel free to type in a chat anytime you guys want here, and I'll keep an eye out, okay? So back to this, niche group. The riches are in the niches, okay? And I'm going to show you how to filter your location. Okay, this is you got to do this first actually, because you don't want to start marketing, drum up a bunch of interest, and not have a location. Okay. Now, in the beginning, you can typically use like your community library, the library in the community where you live. And I know when I did that, I actually got the library for free. I didn't have to pay for it because I was a citizen of the community. Number one. Number two is I made it a nonprofit workshop, okay? I did make money indirectly, but in the workshop itself, I never actually sold anything. All I did was basically provide a place for people to come together and commune and share and network and become more informed and learn and all that. And as a result, and obviously I branded myself, everything I handed out always had, you know, Gary Wilson, Keller Williams, Win Realty Team, you know, 412-680-3618, Gary Wilson at kw.com. It was all branded to reflect me as the realtor, the go-to person who set up the workshop for these people to come to, okay? So room is vitally important. I know a lot of you are Keller Williams agents, some of you are RE/MAX and Coldwell Banker and all that, but generally speaking, the owner of your office is usually pretty accommodating. If you want to have a workshop in your office, in your conference room, or maybe you have a training room, most ownership groups are very accommodating. They're like, yeah, bring them in. I mean, heck, you know, they'll want you to recruit them and sign them up to be agents, but more appropriately for now, they'll know that you're going to be doing this to generate commission revenue for you in the market center as a result of serving your clients, okay? So secure the location first. Now, I will tell you when it comes to the public venues like your library or your church or your municipal building, what we call city hall sometimes, that often has a community room, you got to sign some paperwork. They'll let you have it for free often, not always, but usually for often. You know, you'll have to sign some paperwork, and there's like liability things you're going to have to sign for. You're going to have to go in and meet the librarian, for example, all right? And you have to show them what you're doing and ensure them that you're not actually selling anything there. It's a workshop for the community. Make sure you use the word community. So if you can please write that down. It's a community-based workshop that serves local investors in the community, people wanting to learn how to invest, okay? And that's all it is. It's education, networking, and socializing, okay? No business is being transacted there, okay? That's really critical that you say that, because otherwise they're going to say, well, you can't use a public venue then, right? Now, so this is going to work for a while, but what will happen, guys, is eventually you're going to outgrow your space. I mean, some of you have really good large training rooms. You'd probably be fine there for a long, long time. But a lot of times a library, like the one I went to, they had a capacity of 75. Well, I exceeded that capacity and I eventually had to get a hotel room, which I eventually did. But it only cost me $200, you know, every month to get there. And I told them I'm going to be coming back every month. So I got the room with the hotel, $200 per night, one time a month. But out of that deal, I was getting way more than that in commissions, okay? So just remember this, room, you want to make sure you secure it a minimum of 30 days in advance, okay? And I probably beat that horse to death, but in any case, just remember, make sure you get the room before you start marketing. And when you start marketing, you want to have 30 days in advance for your marketing to take effect, okay? In any case, I just gave you number 4. All right, now, one of the things that we have you do is use meetup.com. Now, Meetup is not that complex. In fact, I'm going to go to the My Investment Services website for just a second and show you where you can find a recording of me demonstrating. So you go to My Investment Services, click on the members area, okay? And once you're in members area, click on members, click here to log into Silver. We're all by default Silver level members, okay? So you click there, all right? I've got to actually log in, so I'm getting logged in here. All right, let me do a screen share real quick. Hang on just one second. I'm gonna share another screen here. And I think it's this one. Yep. Okay, so you should all be able to see my screen, Silver level membership. Off to the left, okay, you're gonna see 2 entries for webinars. This one here says weekly Q&A webinars. So this is the history of all the webinars that I've done for My Investment Services, all recorded, all loaded onto the website, and cataloged by subject type. So in there you got lots of material, okay? The one above it though says webinarmeetup.com. So if you click on that, okay, remove these, that's right, Paul moved that to a different location. The bottom line is this: you can watch this recording. It's about 15 minutes. It shows you exactly how to use meetup.com. Now, while we're here, I'm going to actually go there to Meetup, okay? So let me do this. I'm going to do another screen share, so hang on just one second. New screen share, and where is Meetup? Here it is, okay, meetup.com. Now, I've already logged in, so you should have on your screen here Meetup in the upper left-hand corner in sort of a red pinkish type print. In the middle of the blue bar says find your next event. So if one of you wants to tap chat in the box, say, yes, Gary, I can see that Meetup screen, that would be great. I'm pretty sure you kind of just want to verify that, if you don't mind. Okay, actually, let me just catch up on the chat messages. Everybody is in good shape so far. Hallelujah. Okay. So back here, I've already logged in because I'm a member, right? And ironically, when I first signed up for this years ago, I happened to be in Albuquerque teaching. So it picked up Albuquerque as where I was and assumed it was my home base. I just never changed it. I've set up probably 20 different meetups over the last couple of years, helping other students get set up. But what I want you to look at is this. You can go, let's go to, I don't want to go to Pro Dashboard. Let me just click on Meetup right here. Let's go back to the beginning, okay? All right, 40 events near you. Let's go click on groups, okay? All right, so here's all the different groups within 2 miles of Albuquerque. Look at that, Investor Asian Investor Club. Oh, these are all the groups I set up. Tampa, look at that, 340 members, guys. That's in less than a year. Vegas, 160, Chicago, 141, Northern New Jersey, 196. Let's see here, New York, 193, Atlanta, 232, Raleigh, 116, Albuquerque is pretty small, 88. I'm looking for the link here. Let's see, start a new meetup. Here it is. So I scrolled all the way down, and right here it says start a new meetup or start a new group. I'll just go ahead and click on it for you, okay? What's your new meetup group's hometown? Albuquerque, New Mexico. So right here you would type in whatever your town is. Let's just say I'm in New Braunfels. Let's say New Braunfels, Texas, okay? So I click on that. And now you can select keywords or key phrases, okay? So I'm going to select real estate, obviously, and all kinds of real estate entries. Like they'll let you key in up to 15 of these keywords and key phrases, okay? Now, I want to go backwards just a second. When we're talking about Paul's idea, potential idea of setting up a real estate group for people who speak German, you can select all these real estate entries, real estate investing education, real estate networking, investing, beginner real estate investing. Let's say you selected all those. Well, what I would also do is leave some spots open and type in the word German. And there you go, German language, German conversation, Deutsch. Did I say that right, Paul? Deutsch? I think it's German culture, all kinds of things on German, expat, German. In any case, what you're looking to do is you're looking to commingle your keywords and key phrases so you understand that it's for people who want to invest and people who speak German. And what happens is, this is the coolest part of all. When you set up your group, usually within about 72 hours, Meetup takes all your keywords and key phrases and goes out there and locates all the other Meetup groups in your area that match any one of your keywords or key phrases and notifies all those members about your new Meetup. Okay. Now, we've run contests on this. In fact, we should probably do another one. But for example, we run a contest on this in a little town called Stafford, Virginia. Stafford's not that big, guys. It's like down below Washington, D.C., close to Fredericksburg. Excuse me. And the student, Anna Jenkins, set it up on Friday evening. She did all this, what I'm showing you here, on Friday evening. And we ended the contest Sunday at 5 p.m. Sunday at 5 p.m., she had 48 brand new spanking contacts because people will join your group, and now you got contact with them through Meetup, okay? We've had some amazing, startling results with this. People with 300, 400, 600 people in their groups. David Daniels did this in Lexington, Kentucky. He was one of the very first people that did this under our teaching back in, I think, like 2015. And in less than a year, he had 160 some odd people in little Lexington, Kentucky, So in any case, you would select your keywords and key phrases, all right? Keep hitting next, okay? Actually, let me just select one here. Select next, and then you have to describe it. Now, I'm not going to key in all this stuff, guys. I'm just showing you this is a very user-friendly system, okay? Just follow the instructions. New Braunfels German Language Meetup Group, all right? Describe who should join. Now here, I should explain this in just a second. When it says describe who should join, you want to think avatar. Who's your ideal client? Who are you looking to target, okay? And you want to define that person, and write as if you're writing to that person, okay? And users make it keyword and key phrase rich, okay? But whoever it is, define it, and they give you, I don't know how many characters to do that. Let's see. They don't give you the character count. But in any case, you would do that and hit the next key. Let's just see what happens here. It's not going to let me go next. So in any case, I don't want to go any further because they're going to make me actually set one up, and I don't actually want to do that because I don't want to clog up the internet with stuff that's not being used. But in any case, I wanted to show you Meetup, and let me go back to the checklist here. Let's see, checklist. Oh, here it is. I'm sorry. All right. Now, if one of you could type in your chat box, let me know if you can see the checklist. We're back on the checklist. It says number 3, secure a room. Number 4, your workshop must be nonprofit. So let me just click on that and see if you can see back on the checklist. Excellent. Thanks, Glenda. Okay. So back to the checklist. Meetup, again, use the tutorial. Best thing to do is honestly just log in meetup.com and just go through the scroll to the bottom, select start new group, and then follow the instructions. I believe they'll let you have one for free initially. You can do a pro version, but you don't have to do the pro right now. Pro version, I mean, there was at one point, I think I was spending maybe $1,800 a month on Meetup, but it was because we had groups all over the place. It has now since been turned over to individual agents. So in any case, back to this. Once you have your Meetup set up, you still got to get the word out. See, Meetup is only going to do what it does for you inside the world of Meetup, okay? But you also have Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, your Instagram, Snapchat, excuse me. All these online social media tools that you can use. And you definitely want to use them, but what I encourage you to do is don't spend any money on social media right now. It's not going to be necessary. And unless you've got a lot of followers, it's probably not going to be worth it either. I wouldn't spend any money on any social media. Okay. Um, Over time, when you start developing some business, you gain some traction, you've got a following of, say, 300, 400, 500, 600 people on Facebook, absolutely you can start spending money on Facebook ads. But that's a whole different methodology and a whole different set of instructions. We're not going to go into all that tonight. What I want you to think of is this, is most people are on Facebook, okay? You've already got people on Facebook. You should definitely identify yourself as an agent. You don't want to be like overbearing about it, but let your family and friends know you're an agent, okay? So on Facebook, send a message out to everybody, giving them the link to your Meetup page. When you set up your Meetup group, you're going to get a Meetup page. You take that link, go on the Facebook and say, hey guys, I think you should check this out. Actually, let me backtrack for a second. Don't say, hey guys. Think of any time you connect with people, whether it's online or offline or directly or indirectly, is an individual one-on-one dialogue. She would say, I just created this brand new Meetup group for German-speaking investors. I think you should check it out. So use the word you, okay? I think you should check it out and put that in there. And maybe put a graphic in there, some kind of, like when you set up your Meetup group, you're gonna have to give them a photo, some type of a graphic. And where I am right now in New Braunfels, Texas, beautiful little Germantown, right? This is ironic. We're talking about setting up a German Meetup group, and I'm in a German town. And I just spoke to Paul today, and he speaks German, and I was born in Germany. So, by the way, guys, this was not by design. This was totally, this is a God wink, okay? This is, I think, divine inspiration. This was meant to happen. How about that? So, in any case, so Facebook, make sure you're going to post. You're going to do post on Meetup. You have the ability to post little messages on Meetup. Make sure you also post those on Facebook, okay? Make sure your Meetup and your Facebook are in sync with each other, right? Now, LinkedIn, you're not going to really get as many results from LinkedIn, at least from what we can tell from people, but I would still be on LinkedIn. They have a free version and a pro version. Just do the free version. This is your professional self on LinkedIn, and you can also promote your Meetup group on LinkedIn, okay? Now, there's other Twitter, you can do a short little post of 140 characters. That's all you really need anyways. In fact, on LinkedIn, on Meetup, there's different types of posts. Anything you post like publicly, they actually limit that to like 140, 160 characters. It's the ideal scene for you to match it up and put that also on Twitter, okay? Guys, let me check questions. I see some chats coming in. Hang on just one second. Let me click on that real quick. Okay, let's see. Louis is sharing a link. It's called keywordseverywhere.com. I've seen that before, an excellent tool. So if everybody should be seeing that on your screen, I think this is all panelists. Yes, all panelists get to see this. Actually, hang on one second. Let me, all panelists and attendees. So Louis, I'm gonna copy this and paste it because it was on panelists, not attendees. Let me key that in. So now you just see that this is from Louis Ray said. Everybody say thank you, Louis, for sharing that. Keywordseverywhere.com. Okay, now David is asking, is Meetup.com free or does it have a monthly fee? Yeah, Meetup is basically, they have a free version you can start off with. It's free to join Meetup. Once you start setting up, I think more than one group, at one time it was 4 groups, they're gonna start they want you to do the pro version, okay? I think basic Meetup though, without doing pro, if you're gonna be doing this on a regular basis, it's like $15 a month or something. It's very inexpensive. You can join Meetup for free, but as soon as you set up a group, they're going to want you to pay, and you can pay monthly or semi-annually or I think annually. It's very affordable. I mean, literally, for the entire year, I think it's like $150 or something. So, in any case, let's see. This is Paul. I created a group for about 28 bucks. They probably raised their price, guys, because this tool is actually the folks that create a Meetup, they're out of New York City. They got a pretty good thing going here, right? Yeah, James was just saying Meetup fees are nominal. And by the way, you can set up Meetup for anything you want: kayaking, biking, photography. There's Meetup groups for everything you could possibly imagine. In fact, one of the things I learned to do is go research all the different meetups in whatever area I was in, and look for like engineers, look for pilots, dentists, things like that. And I would look at their keywords and key phrases, look at their participation, and see what kind of dialogue is going on. And then I would basically plug myself in, right? So you don't want to sell stuff on Meetup, by the way. Don't go out there selling things, because they're going to shut you down, and people will block you out anyways. They don't like that. It's more of a network and communicating type thing. Okay, so Louis is saying you can also use Canva. Yeah, Canva is an awesome tool to create a graphic. So you can take something you did on your phone, for example, on your computer, run it through Canva. We use Canva for a lot of different purposes, actually. Thanks, Louis, for putting that out there. Okay. Let's see. And Louis, everybody's saying thank you. So we got some thank yous here. Okay. So back to this. Let me reduce this. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. Here's some other things you can do. In your emails, if you have a database, right? So you have your own contact management system. On there, you can send out a blast saying, and make it one-on-one personal. Don't say, hey, everybody, check this out. In a lot of contact management systems, you can do what's called a sort merge, where they put in the individual person's name, right? So you would say, dear Louis, dear Christian, dear, Belinda, look what I just created. It's a Meetup group just for folks like us who invest, and we speak German again, for example. You can send that out in the email. You can also send text messages, just a quick text message. Hey guys, check your email, check your Facebook post. We just created a brand new Meetup group. I think you're gonna like it. You can call people too if you want to. You can even do snail mail. Like we like to send out cards to people, thank you cards, birthday cards, things like that. Well, what you could do is, for the next year, all your birthday cards to go out, put in there a little blurb about the Meetup group, encouraging people to join your Meetup group, okay? You can create flyers and put the flyers up at your local library, because if you're gonna have the Meetup at the library, post it on the library's bulletin board, and people will come in and out and see, hey, I can join this Meetup group, right? You can also do what's called a press release, a PR. Let me see if I can find you. Actually, Beverly, when you get this, get the PR link from Judy, so we can send it out to the database, and you all will get a PR release. Let me see if I can find it real quick, guys, and I'll just go ahead and type it in, or I'll cut it and paste it. Let me go here. Okay, let's see. Let's see, press release. Let's see, Judy, use the press release. Okay. Let me go back and see if I can find another press release. Oops, hang on 1 second. If I can't find it a second, another couple of seconds, I'm just going to go ahead and actually, let me see if it's in here to Justin. Okay, it's called Release Wires. Let me cut this. Or copy, excuse me, hang on 1 second. Release wire copy. Let's go back into here. Okay, chat. And to all participants, okay. So we're gonna see something come across called Release Wire. They're very affordable. They have usually 2 different levels you can do. I think the one that you might want to consider is just do like the $89 version. It's very cost effective. And again, you can do a press release, okay? So it's a number of ways for you to get the word out on your Meetup. Now, the cool thing about doing a group is over time, you won't have to spend much money advertising it, because your best advertising is your word of mouth from the other participants in the Meetup. I mean, they're going to tell each other, tell their friends, neighbors, relatives, church members, coworkers, the list goes on and on. They will share your information, okay? And you don't have to, you just basically keep up to date on your social media in your Meetup as far as posting things, and you'll have a fresh active database. Okay, that's number 6. Number 7, always bring in copies of worksheets, information forms, analysis forms, cash flow forms. Let me go back to the server level. Hang on one second. I'm going to scroll down to analysis forms and calculators. Okay. And down here, just download these forms: cash flow, property inspection, property rehab, rental property calculator. Just download all of these calculators and spreadsheets, okay? And bring them into your workshop. Always keep a bunch of those with you. Hand them out like candy, and make sure your name and address, your name and phone number and email addresses on all of those, okay? So bring those in. Also, you want to bring in samples of properties, okay? Bring in samples of properties. And I like to mix it up: pending, active, sold, the whole 9 yards. You're never going to be able to go over all those properties in a workshop. The purpose of bringing these is you're going to have them exercise using the worksheets you gave them, using the sample properties you're giving them. And what we do is we actually put it on the computer, and it shows on the overhead, okay? And on the overhead, I'm demonstrating, I'm showing them, let's break this property down, cash flow, expenses, and look at it all different ways and see how we can improve the performance. And they're watching you, and you're encouraging them to do the same thing on their worksheets. This creates what's called a very high level of engagement and commitment. So remember this: to have an effective, productive workshop, you've got to develop engagement, encourage commitment, and also demonstrate action. Not you, but the participants. When you've got engagement, commitment, and action, you've got yourself some clients, okay? So in any case, back to this: bring in samples of properties, and that's really the first part of your workshop. You're going to be looking at a property. It could take you 20 minutes, a half hour. I mean, sometimes you're lucky you get 2 properties in, okay? But that's really the basic format. You also want to bring in, by the way, a recent article. This is really should be the first thing. Google the night before your workshop just the term real estate, and you'll get all kinds of blogs and articles, okay? Bring one in. It could be anything on real estate, just as long as it's relevant. That's the first thing to do, is go over the article to get people engaged initially, getting comfortable speaking with you and each other. Okay, so that's the first thing you do, is the article on real estate, and then you go into a sample property using the worksheets. And by the way, on the sample properties, all right, which is number 8 here, what will happen is over time, you won't have to be bringing in properties anymore. Your participants will start to bring in their own properties. They'll say, hey, Gary, we looked at this one last month. We didn't get it. We got outbid, but would you mind looking at this and tell us if we were going to make a good decision or not? And we bring it up online, let everybody participate. I mean, this is really an engaging activity. When you start analyzing your participants' properties, okay? When you get to that point, you've got yourself a good, solid community. All right, now, to get people there, you want to start promoting this a month in advance, okay? And the first one, it's your crapshoot. I can tell you, my first one was a whopping 6 people, but the average is around 22. We've had people have 80% show rate. We've had people have 60% show rate, 30% show rate. I'm going to show you how you improve your show rate. So you have your registration, the people register using Meetup, and then you have your show rate. Show rate is how many people showed up versus how many registered. In order to increase those odds, you've got to do a 3-step process, minimum 3-step process, okay? So every month, every day during the month, you're putting some posts online on Meetup just to keep people engaged. And you want to keep reminding them every time there's a monthly meetup coming up. And then what you do is every week, about a week in advance, send out an email, call people, text people, and say, would you want to come to my meetup, or please come to my meetup. We're going to go over some properties. I've got cookies and tea. We're going to have some guest speakers, that kind of thing. Now, the week before, you want to start ramping things up, okay? So, don't bombard them with emails, but the posting online is what I'm talking about. Now, the day before, you're definitely going to send an email to everybody who's registered. Remember, when you run your Meetup, Meetup's going to let you contact the participants through Meetup, But when people start engaging with you, just like any good realtor, you want to get their contact information, email and phone number, okay? Now, so you do the email the day before, all right? Also through Meetup, you're going to post a reminder through Meetup the day before, all right? Now, the day of the workshop, sometime during the day, you're going to either phone call people or text them, remind them about the workshop. Generally, we'll do like a text in the morning, and if we haven't heard from people, we'll do another reminder text, you say around 5 o'clock that evening, for the ones that have not responded yet, okay? Now, you hold the workshop, okay? Generally, you're going to speak for about 5 minutes. Just keep it short. I know it's going to be tempting to get up there and just ramble on, but keep your part very, very short to the point, because you want to go right into the article. Use the article as your icebreaker, all right? Then you're going to hand out the worksheets and hand out the sample properties. Again, this is just at the beginning. Over time, always keep a set of worksheets with you for all the new participants, but the veteran participants, they're going to have their worksheets with them anyways. And they'll start bringing in the properties. But you're going to spend the bulk of your time actually going over the properties. It's going to take, I mean, if you do 2 properties, just be prepared. That could take anywhere from a half hour to an hour, okay? Okay, now, you want to take a quick breather at the hour mark and let them get up and stretch their legs, use the restroom, and get some cookies and things like that. Just a quick little 10, 15-minute break, okay? And just have them engage with each other, shaking hands, meeting each other, exchanging contact information, okay? Then you're going to have them come sit back down and have some open Q&A, okay? Open Q&A. And what happens is some people are going to be more active, some people will be more passive. It's just the nature of human beings. Some are more active, some are more passive. Some are very, social, high on the disc profile. Some are very reserved, okay? Now, in the workshop, as people approach you and say, hey, Gary, I want to do this now. I feel comfortable. I've looked at some properties. I like you as a person. I appreciate what you're doing for the community, and I want to work with you. Well, at that point, you want to set up an interview, okay? Don't try to screen them right there in the workshop. The workshop will be the workshop. Just like regular business, you want to set an appointment to interview them. And for the investors, we typically do it over the phone. With owner occupants, you generally have them come in the office, but investors, you don't have to. Investors just do the interview over the phone. We'll do another, by the way, quick pause here. We'll do another weekly webinar, guys, just on how you actually screen people. We just did one the other week, and we role play. Shirley was part of that. Matt was part of it. If you want to role play interviewing prospective clients, just give me a shout out in an email, and we'll do another workshop where we do some role playing, okay? Okay, so in any case, this is outside your workshop. You interview them, you qualify them, and you want to also have them follow up and send you an email recapping your conversation. And then when you're back, well, those are your clients, the ones you're going to work with. The ones who don't, just let them keep coming to the workshop, and when they're ready to take action, they'll show you the level of commitment you need by sending you an email recapping your conversation with them. Right now, the rest of this we're going to cover in another webinar, but what I want to do right now is go back to the format of the workshop, okay? You're going to basically build rapport with all of these prospects so that they learn to know you, like you, and trust you, and you might want to write that down. When people do business with us, it's because they feel comfortable. They know us, they like us, they trust us, okay? And of course, it's easy to do that when you're coming from contribution, you're providing a service. We call it prosperity through service. Serve first, and you shall prosper as a result, okay? Now, having said that, once you're up and running, maybe you're getting comfortable, maybe about 6 months out, you've got a good thing going, you can start bringing in guest speakers. Now, what I recommend is to not bring in a guest speaker every single month, because we're going to want at least a half hour, okay? Sometimes an hour. So what I would do is this. I would bring in a guest speaker every other month once I was up and running. In fact, I got to tell you, I didn't even bring in a guest speaker for the first year. I didn't bring in a single one. I just did everything myself. It does help to bring in a guest speaker, though, because helps you relax, you get back into the crowd, you mingle with your participants, and you can participate and observe just like they are, okay? So, but let's assume you're going to bring in guest speakers every other month. You only want to do this every other month too, because on the other months, you want to be the person in front of your people personally, developing that rapport, okay? So on the other months where you're bringing in the guest speaker, here's the really good potential guest speakers for you. A lender, obviously, if somebody who's familiar with investors or investor friendly, and I highly recommend you use community banks in your area, okay? I know it's going to be tempting to bring in the big guys from Bank of America, but you're going to push like FHA products. The local community banks are often what we call community lenders or portfolio lenders, excuse me. And they don't sell their loans. They keep their own loans in-house, okay? So they're generally more flexible, more open to creative purchasing strategies. They actually, they'll look at the project, not just like try to fit you in a silo. They'll just look at the project in and of itself and see if it makes sense, okay? On a one-on-one basis. Really, I love working with these community banks. So a banker is one of the ones you can bring in. An attorney. And again, make sure it's an attorney who specializes in real estate, not just doing closings, but handling landlord-tenant cases, for example, maybe an attorney who's invested themselves, or an attorney who specializes in helping you set up LLCs to buy properties. Okay, so the bottom line is you'll have investor or attorneys in your area who do specialize working with investors. So bring one of those guys in. Another possibility would be a contractor would be a great speaker. And then when I first did this, I thought, man, they're gonna shoot this guy full of arrows, because contracting is the hardest part of our business, right? Projects go over budget, they take too long, all kinds of stuff happens. Turns out it was one of the best ones we've ever done. So they came in, many people had all kinds of questions, and the contractor was really great because they said, look, guys, here's why these things go over budget, and here's why they take too long. A lot of it is the consumers, the investors have change orders. So whenever you do a change order, that can really foul things up. Take longer, all that kind of stuff. So they really get a lot of education out of that. And by the way, that guy got a ton of business too, by the way. So contractors, so lenders, attorneys, contractors. An appraiser is always a good idea, because an appraiser will show you what's bringing value today on properties, so you know what kind of remodeling to do, okay? And I'll give you a big surprise here. We always check this stuff out every year. We look at the numbers, ourselves. Turns out, crazy, siding and decking brings a greater return on investment than even kitchens and bathrooms. Go figure, but it does, okay? It's the statistics. Contractor, appraiser, an inspector, housing inspector, like for your county's housing inspector. Bring them in to show people, guys, when we inspect rentals, this is what we look at when we inspect rentals, okay? So that's lender, attorney, contractor, appraiser, inspector, and one more would be like a insurance person, so an insurance broker, someone selling insurance, okay? They've got great stories, by the way. Insurance guys always have the best stories, okay? You can also bring like a credit specialist, somebody who's great at credit repair. There's lots of possibilities, but at a minimum, once you're up and running, you may want to consider bringing in one of those 6 I just mentioned once every other month. Okay, I'm going to get close to wrapping this up, so let me check the chat box here. Let's see, chat 1. Okay. Defects, right? Things that aren't up to code, things like that. And appraisers can see that stuff too, but appraisers are thinking more about value, right? Market value. So there's 2 different viewpoints, okay? Thanks, Louis, for bringing it up, by the way. Let's see here. I think everybody is all caught up. You know what? Someone used a Q&A box. Let me go look at that. So this is Belinda. Am I muted? If not, how can I mute? So yeah, Belinda, I'm sorry, this is probably from the very beginning of the session. Yeah, by default, we're all muted except for me, and I can unmute you from time to time. Oh, and what is Rachelle's contact information? So it's R-E-C-H. What I'll do is I'm going to write that down below. I'm going to send that to you via email. I'll send you Rachelle's information via email, okay? And let's see, quick newbie question. Will you be emailing us the checklist? Yeah, you're going to be getting the checklist. Beverly's going to send it out tomorrow, okay? I'm glad I saw this. We normally use the chat box, but I'm glad I saw this on the Q&A. I would have totally skipped that, but hey guys, in any case, real quick, let me give you the upcoming schedule. So next week's webinar is going to be Monday night, which is October 14th. So unfortunately for guys like Louie and me, that's our Thanksgiving day, okay, Canadian Thanksgiving. So I'll be having dinner on Sunday actually. But Louie, again, it won't be until 6 p.m. tonight. So the 14th next week. The following week is going to be the 23rd, which is a Wednesday. And the week after that is going to be the 29th, which is a Tuesday. So we try to mix it up to different days of the week. But if you want me to talk about something specific, guys, please email me in advance so I can prepare for that next week's meeting, and I'll talk about it, whatever subject you want to talk about, okay? So let me check the chat box. We got a few more chat messages coming in. Okay, this is from David. What is the secret to keep investors coming back to the workshops? Dave, for us, really, David, and for everybody, it really is the value. So you want to make sure it's non-salesy. So matter of fact, this may take a little bit longer here, guys, but David, great question. What you don't want to do is make it like a swap meet. You don't want to let people come up, like most investor clubs do this, like the RIA groups do this. At some point during the night, you get to come up and parade your properties, right? Hey, I just got this great deal. You guys can buy it too. And what we found out is a lot of them are actually trying to get rid of their junk. They're trying to just offload their problem properties on the poor, unsuspecting souls. So we don't make that part of our environment, David. So as a result, because it's free, there's no monthly dues. It's not a salesy type environment. It's a learning environment and network environment. That's what they want. They want to be around other people who are doing what they're doing. It's called belongingness. Everybody wants to belong to something, and you're creating a group that's near and dear to their hearts. And plus, when you start bringing in those guest speakers, you're gonna get a lot more interest. Okay, excellent question. Okay, this is from Teresa. Do you have a checklist for questions to ask and help qualify possible investors? Yeah, tell you what, Teresa. In module 2. There's like a 12-step process for working with landlords buying rentals, and another 12-step process for flippers buying flips. Very similar checklist. It's just the content's a little bit different. So in there, that's what you'll see what you asking for. And also, I would suggest, Teresa, maybe or everybody here, maybe we do another session on role playing. We did it the other week, and people loved it. I mean, I like it too because I get to kind of share the stage with you guys, and I'm not the only one talking. And I can play both roles, you know. So I would say, Teresa, look for that, and I'll go over what we call the interview process through a role playing. How about that? Okay, guys, I think that's about it. We're clear up on the questions. Thank you for participating. God bless you and your families. I hope you have an awesome rest of the week and a great weekend. And I will see you Monday night. And maybe send post a happy Thanksgiving to all our fellow Canadians on Monday the 14th, okay? Okay, you guys take care of yourselves, and I will see you next week. Take care and God bless. Bye-bye.